Hello guys, and welcome to another multi-pass workflow tutorial with me, Eldarin from Daz Alembic. Today we're going to discuss some more Alembic workflows. There was a question from a Fatito on CG Society about how to use the Daz Alembic exporter to quickly add textures to the character when it got imported into Cinema 4D. In looking for the solution, the workflow that I came up with for that was so intriguing that I decided I needed to really do a quick tutorial on it, because this workflow it's a workflow that'll work with Maya and 3ds Max and other 3D programs as well. When an Alembic file gets exported out of a 3D package, depending upon the way the 3D package exports out the Alembic files, they can insert selection tags into the Alembic file and various other information that can be very useful in the next 3D package that you decide to use the Alembic in. The Daz Alembic exporter is pretty good. It exports out the selection tags for all the textures, and of course, like any other Alembic, it also exports out a very beautiful, very concise animation as well. The animations you do in Daz basically will get exported out exactly as intended right into Cinema 4D with no problems. So unlike the FBX export where you might be missing a few things, the Alembic export is going to be a complete faithful rendition of exactly what you animated in Daz. That's if you are animating in Daz, of course. So let's go in here. And we're going to start by going into our characters here, and let's see, I might have to go back. Yeah, let's go to Genesis. Let's go ahead and load up a Genesis character here. I'm also using Daz 4.7 here, but I believe Daz 4.6 is the first version that the Alembic exporter came out for, so it should work there as well. The only difference, I'm sure there's a lot more differences here. I've only just installed Daz 4.7. But one of the big main differences between this interface and the other interfaces, of course, this dark type style with the tabs that it's got going on here, which I think looks really nice. When I saw a screenshot of this, I was like, okay, I guess I gotta install that, because that does look like it's pretty interesting. It looks like, at least UI wise, they kind of sort of got their act together a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an ever classic female character here. We're going to go for a little bit of an anime character, so I'm going to go through my morphs here and grab Hitomi, and I'm just going to go ahead and morph this character a little bit into kind of sort of a caricature, and then I'm going to go up to the basic female morphs, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that as well to kind of sort of slender her out a little bit. Alright, then we're going to go into pose and animate mode here in Daz, and I don't animate in Daz, so this mode is a little new to me, but it's pretty easy to animate in Daz here. Daz works a lot like Pixar's Presto, it seems, as far as allowing you to just grab certain parts of the mesh and kind of sort of move different things like so. Anyway, in Daz, from the cursory tutorials I did on this just to figure out how to animate in this program, it seems that it sets a keyframe automatically for you whenever you move different components. So if we go to, say, frame 12 or so here, we can go ahead and animate her hand up just by moving it a little bit, so it's not too difficult to animate in here. We'll just kind of have her flap her arms a little bit. We're just trying to create just a little bit of animation here. We'll go ahead and hit the plus sign, create a key there, and now we've got a little bit of animation. By the plus sign, I mean there's this little key button down here with a plus on it, and that'll create a key of the whole entire animation there. So now she's, doing that, and then of course we'll just bring the arms back down, and it should be the extent of the animation that we're going to do here. We just want to basically be able to see that she's doing some sort of movement, so that we can see in Cinema 4D that we indeed did get the animation as intended directly out of Daz. So we're also going to go ahead and add some textures, because what we want to do is be able to re-add these textures to the Alembic when we get back into Cinema. So let's go ahead and let's put some clothing on her first. We want to go ahead and protect her modesty here. So I'm just going to add like a, let's go ahead with the female business suit. Let's go ahead and add a shirt, and let's add a dress. There we go. And now when I texture her with a skin, we shouldn't be able to see much. Alright, so I'm going to go into my materials here, and I'm going to go to characters, and we're always using Kiera. Let's use Riley this time. We'll just double click on the default matte here, and she's going to get textured. Awesome. Alright, cool. So she is done. We've got a fully textured, fully clothed character here. Looks pretty awesome. And let's go ahead and save this scene. We'll save this as test of 3. I've already created a copy. I'm just playing around with this, trying to answer his question. We're going to go ahead and save over that copy. That's fine. There we go. And like before, you know, when you're doing just a typical export, I've done a tutorial on this before, 2 actually. One's kind of older, a couple of years ago, and one's maybe about a year old, that goes over some new type stuff. You can look those up on my channel. But what we're going to do is we're going to export this as a FBX to start. That'll actually give us our textures for this character. Alright, and we're not going to really worry too much about any of the morphs or anything like that, really. I think we're just going to be fine with just the figures and the morphs, and everything kind of sort of being normal here. I see there's some new options here in Daz 4.7. This is kind of interesting. Click accept, and we're going to let it go through and export this out. Now the reason why we're exporting out the FBX is the FBX is going to give us our materials. When we export the Alembic out of this program, the Alembic file does not come with any materials at all, and that's primarily because the Alembic format itself was geared more towards vertex information and just clean vertex cache type stuff. It initially wasn't really geared towards doing materials. I think some of the newer versions of Alembic are actually capable of doing that, but if you're using Alembic, typically you're using Alembic because you're planning on doing retexturing in a different 3D package. Say you do animation in Cinema, you're typically going to take it into Maya and do rendering there, or you're going to take it into Nuke and you're going to relight it there, or whatever have you. That's typically what Alembic is for. I guess that's the reason why they didn't include materials in the first iteration of it. So what we have to do is we have to export our materials a different way, our classic way, through FBX, and then we'll have those available to us to texture the Alembic. Alright, let's go ahead and export now the Alembic file. So we're going to go ahead and grab, call this testa 3 again, and we're going to go into our Alembic folder here, and we're going to go ahead and save it out and overwrite the one that we had before. And what's kind of interesting here in the Alembic export options is that it will also collect the textures for you as well. So we collected the textures in the FBX, and we also collected the textures here. So we're probably going to have an overabundance of textures available to us. The Alembic exports pretty quickly. You may not have noticed it down there, but it said exported Alembic pretty fast. Only took like a second. So The Daz Alembic exporter is pretty quick, a lot quicker than Cinema 4D's exporter. But back here in Cinema 4D, and I'm using R16 here right now. We can go ahead and merge in the Alembic file, or actually we can go ahead and merge in the FBX to start with. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and bring everything in, and we can go with the default take. We don't really need any of the animation, and we'll let that come in. And let's see, our character basically is here with all her textures. Let's see that we've basically got everything we need here, which is really awesome. Alright, so these textures we can use to actually texture the Alembic. Alright, so let's go ahead and merge in the Alembic file, which is going to merge in just one object. So let's go over to our Alembic and import that in. And everything here is fine. We don't really have any curves, but we can keep that turned on, it's fine. And our frame rate, we can keep it at 24. Let's go in and do some preliminaries here. As always with our Cinema 4D files, let's go ahead and set our frame rate right in our render settings, and also hit Control D and set our frame rate right in our project. Cool. So she will animate at 24 frames per second, and our actual frame rate is 24, or the actual amount of time we had in Daz was 24. We only did a second of animation, so yeah, cool. So there we go. Let's go back to Cinema again, and we should see the same exact animation. Gorgeous. Alright, let's go ahead and save our scene just to be on the safe side here. And we'll call this test of 3 anim. Alright, and there we go. We've got our Cinema 4D file saved. Alright, so these objects right here, as you can see, are our Alembic files, and we have 3 Alembic files here. We have one for the skirt, one for the shirt, and one for the Genesis character. And they've got our animation perfectly, just like any Alembic file would have. We can turn off our FBX character if we want, and we can see that our character is ready to basically be surfaced or textured, as it were. We can also see that our Genesis character has a number of selection tags applied to it that came out of Daz. So these are all the selection tags you would get from the actual Genesis character right here. These are the material tags, and these here are the selection tags. The Alembic file just has all the selection tags in tabs here. It's kind of a black box. You can't really access it. You can't mess with the faces, the edges, or the points like you can in Maya. So you can't really do any selections with it. But it animates typically faster than a full-fledged Cinema 4D rig with jiggle deformers and surface deformers and a bunch of other stuff. So the benefit of this, of course, the benefit of this file is it's faster. All the animation is baked, and it's easier to kind of sort of surface, and it's easier to do like collisions against and stuff. So in order to get our materials on here, what we can do is we can actually add a texture tag to it just by dragging the material onto it. Alright, and the UV tags are all built into the Alembic file. So the Alembic file has the UVs, and it has the selection tags, and it knows what to do with this material for the most part. It's just that you need to tell the Alembic file exactly where this material needs to be mapped at. Now, you don't have any selection tags like you do on your polygonal version, so you can't just drag the selection tag into the selection field. However, what you can do is you can look at your Alembic file and you can see, well, hey, this is the name of my selection. And let's check right here and see what this material is called. This is the skin foot. So this material is the limbs, basically. So I know that this is the limbs. And I know here, okay, skin arm, that's one of the limbs. The hand is another one of the limbs. Okay, so this is the selection I really want to apply to my character. So let's kind of sort of write that down and kind of get an idea of what that actually says there. So it's DZ mat _3 _ skin arm, and it's all case sensitive, and we can copy that. And then if we come back here to our actual texture tag, we can actually type in a selection here. So if we go ahead and paste in that selection, and then we go ahead and click back on the Genesis character, we'll see that the mapping of that selection tag actually got mapped to the selection that we told it to be mapped to. Now that selection is actually covered up by this shirt, so if we go ahead and turn the shirt off, we can see, bam, there's our material. So it's really easy to go ahead and actually texture the rest of the character. All we have to do is just we can duplicate this tag, and then we can go ahead and change the selection to still the same material for the hands. It's going to be DZ3 skin hand in this particular case. So I'll go ahead and copy that, and go ahead and paste that, and hit enter to update, and there we go. Now we've got our hands. Do the same thing for the arms and all that. Now, that being said, this is about as far as I've gotten as far as, you know, kind of sort of texturing that. But if we were to take all these all these texture tags from our original character, which is the same as our Alembic character, and we were just to drag them up onto our Alembic character, I think, no, they don't work. However, what I will say is all you would have to do is just rename this. So you've got all the material tags basically from your FBX file now attached to your Alembic, so all you have to do is just rename each one of these selections, and you should have the same material mapping on the Alembic as you had on the original. And then of course, you know, now we're done with all the FBX stuff, so we can go ahead and delete all that, bring back the shirt, and there we go, we've got just the Alembic by itself. So that's it, guys. That's just the new Alembic workflow from Daz. Like I said, this will work with this should work with any other 3D program. So 3ds Max, when you Alembic export out, if you tell it to export out 3ds Max's selections and other tags that can be exported out from Alembic, and you import them here into R16, it should work. You should get all the selection tags on your character, and you should be able to just very easily take the materials from the 3ds Max version and you know, do your thing. Also, the selection tags also give you the ability, of course, to, you know, you can take these materials and create new materials. So when Arnold comes out finally, or if you're using Maxwell or V-Ray, you can just create new materials and apply V-Ray and Arnold stuff onto there. So it's a very quick, very nice look dev workflow that you can get in here. So alrighty, guys, I'll be back with another tutorial hopefully very soon, hopefully before the end of the month. I'm currently, as we speak, actually working on the Lumiere rig here, and the Lumiere Weights Transfer plugin is pretty much done. As I explained in the last tutorial I did, this plugin basically allows you to transfer the weights from a Genesis character to a Genesis character exported directly out of Daz to my custom Genesis rig. That way you'll be able to actually move your Genesis character using actual controls here in Cinema 4D. I'm also working on another script which I'll be adding to the plugin as well, that will also allow you to transfer the animation from Motion Builder onto this rig as well. So you'll be able to actually have the character follow this motion capture here. Still a little buggy at the moment, the actual motion capture part of this functionality, but I figured it was important enough to have the motion capture workflow available that I've kind of held back releasing the plugin until I make sure I get this functionality completely operational, because I want it to be very, very easy for you not only to transfer the weighting from a Genesis character to a Cinema 4D rig, but I also want you to be able to go into Motion Builder, do a little bit of animation there as far as retargeting your character, motions and stuff, and be able to bring it back into Cinema and just quickly retarget it onto this beautiful rig. That way you can just get right into just doing your cleanup workflows. You can get into, you know, placing down a plane here in the scene and having her make footprints in the sand here in Cinema. All the good stuff that you can do in Cinema that you just can't do in Motion Builder, you know, footprints in the sand and having an X particle system, and, you know, having particles interact with her, and using Turbulence FD to go ahead and actually create fire in her hands and different things like that. You know, things that you know, it would have been difficult to do. You know, just in Motion Builder, you would have created the animation, and then you would have had to imagine that there was fire in her hands, imagine where that fire was going to actually be, and you can't animate against that fire in Motion Builder. You have to just kind of sort of imagine it, and then, you know, have a really hard time tweaking it here if it's messed up in Motion Builder, you know. But with the rig, that kind of changes everything. So all that's coming soon, hopefully before the end of the month. Hopefully it would be nice to be able to release it around the same time that maybe Arnold comes out, because Arnold combined with this rig is going to really, really make it very, very easy to create incredibly fast photoreal animations. But alright guys, that's it for this really, really quick one. I just wanted to get that workflow out there, because I know some of you are animating in Daz and Carrara, and you know, that allows you to bring your animations back here into Cinema 4D and continue to tweak them out, add deformers, add jiggle physics, do cool stuff like turning your character into sand with X particles, or, you know, incorporating, you know, realistic photoreal fire into your character with Turbulence FD, or, you know, different things like that. Lightning, having characters shoot out lightning from their hands with the new X Particles version 3 lightning emitters, and all this really cool stuff that you can do in Cinema that you just can't do in or you just might not be able to do in Carrara or Daz, you know. So alrighty guys, see you soon.